WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM, and we're streaming live here at WZRD. And we're going to be interviewing Janet Kuypers this morning. She is an amazing artist, very prolific. I'm so excited to have Janet here. And we're going to be talking about her work. She has I don't know how many new books she has out. I'm sure that she could tell us, however.
I want to make sure I'd have them all for you when I got back into town and was appearing on the radio. I want to make sure all these books were released so I could share them with you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Janet. Thank you. So we're going to play a little music, and then we'll have Janet be reading some of her work and asking a few questions. I'm really excited to have her with us here today. So you're only at the Wizard, WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM on your radio dial. So there's some Laurie Anderson, and then is this recording?
I don't know.
Did you want your McDonald's thing?
Oh, that's my water. I can't really have it here.
Okay, I didn't know. That's why I stopped where I was
This
at.
is so odd. Glasses.
I could go straight in.
I have a blank disc in there. I just want to make sure I'm recording.
Thank you.
You pushed in closer so that you
I want to be able to see her. Thank you very much, Sean.
No. No, I'm just going to check this one. I don't
Thank you.
what's going on with this today.
Very much.
What's wrong with this?
It may. But if it does, what do I do? I'll just...
I thought there was a
Is that
disc
one
in
okay?
there. Try that one.
Thank you.
It looks clean. Is it clean?
Are we ready?
So that was a little Laurie Anderson to get us in the mood for some Janet Kuypers work this morning. I'm going to make sure that light is on so we can hear you. All right.
Can you hear me now?
I hope so.
Perfect.
You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM, where you never know what to expect because we're freeform. So we have Janet Kuypers in the studio with us right now, and I'm so excited and delighted to be introducing Janet. So Janet, tell me what have you been up to lately? You've moved?
That's the real surprise because I've been, this Chicago poet's been living in Austin, Texas for the past 2.5 to 3 years. And I just made it back this weekend. I thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be here. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
It means
Yes,
the world
absolutely.
to me. This is like I'm so comfortable here, and I want to thank you so much for it. In the past year, I've gone through a lot of different changes. Yeah, I have collection books that I've released here, but we went on the first trip on a boat in 2017 to Antarctica.
Wow, that's a trip of a lifetime.
That sure is. I don't know of many more trips that'll actually beat that one. And so we made a point, I had a lot of photo editing to do after that because it was very cold, and that's pretty much all you could do when you're out there. Photograph every sort of mountain and iceberg and, every animal under the sun. In fact, even one of the times we went camping, I said, if we're going to be in Antarctica on a boat, we should camp one night. It was absolutely miserable. It was so incredibly cold. I had walked up to him and I said, I'm going to need a large sleeping bag. And he says, no, you won't. I'll just give you a regular one, which was too small for me because I don't think men like to assume that women are actually large or tall people.
Yes, you're a tall person, very much so.
And so we were it was just trying to figure out how to like put fingers under arms to try to stay warm. And an actual avalanche went off on the mountain range that we were on, about 200-300 feet away from us.
Oh my goodness.
At 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh,
my
man.
husband was in another bivy sack, and he was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And I think he tried to open up his thing to be able to watch it. And of course, you just think it's so stunning, but you don't think, I should photograph this. He was like, "What was I thinking?" And I was just like, "I'm just like, cover me up. It's just measurable, you know." But at least we went through it. Yeah, at least we went through it, because I said, if you're actually going to be here, that would be something you'd have to try.
Yes.
So I released 2 color square books. One of all of the landscape, which is ever changing, because formations of ice will change, and especially because we were going into the springtime, so ice would be melting and things would be changing all the time. So I have one larger book here called Earth's Final Frontier with tons of photos.
Oh,
Just
yeah, the photographs
tons.
in your book are just amazing.
To be able to see the water underneath with the ice underneath and how it would carry and hold things up, or you would see things flip around. It was just absolutely amazing to see. But I made a point to make another release of just some of the wildlife, which in this respect was mostly penguins. I mean, we saw the first whales of the season, which was really cool. Because
Yes.
the captain's like, let me
Yes.
try to follow with the ship and hang out with this group of whales, and then they're like, we're gonna get away. But it was very, very, very cool, and it was amazing just to see so many different pictures of penguins. I think we even laughed at one of them. Should have been a meme for like, hey, give me a drink, buddy, because they're gonna go to a local saloon because they look like they're embracing each other. Like you're depressed, let's go for a walk. But and I made a point to actually get back. I was doing shows in Austin at the Baha'i Faith Center. We did them monthly until the last one, which was in the beginning of December of 2017. So I did a bunch of pieces about Antarctica, and I included in this book a couple pieces about experiences that I'd had there. I will start with a really short one. I think this one's funny, and people can't see me because I am going to do the effects of this one. This is a short one that is called, let me find a good one for you here. I don't want underwater swimming. I want Oceans Call to Dive, because that looks like my front cover of my book. The Gentoo penguins run down the mountainside to the rocky edge overlooking the southern ocean. They get into a single file line at the edge. One jumps in, and then another, then another, then a dozen more. The last penguin gets to the line at the edge after all the other penguins dove into the southern ocean. The last penguin steps back and forth on his feet in place, turns around, looks at the mountain, turns back again, back to the water, rocks once, steps on his feet twice, then looks back again, then turns to the salt water and just dives in. It was amazing, absolutely amazing, seeing these little animals doing these things.
Yes.
And I think on that trip I had gone out on a boat by myself. My husband was having injuries and problems with a broken leg, and he was actually on this trip with me. But I went there alone, and you go this, and you can go, I don't know how many yards to go to different ranges. And I'm like, every step I took, my waders and I would drop 3 feet into the snow, and I'm like, I'm not going to be climbing out for every single step to go. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it. And they're like, well, if you want, you can go right over there. It's like 25 feet away, and just sit and watch all the penguins jumping into the water. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll do that. And I just sat there and moved from one position to the next. And at one point I saw one coming down the hill, and I said, I'm going to have to get my phone and set it up into selfie mode as this thing's coming toward me. And I hear somebody else over going, hey, look behind you. And I'm like, well, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I understand that there's something coming behind me. You don't have to explain it to me. There's so many, and they were everywhere. So it was absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
I'm trying to think if I should give you any more from here, just because I've got so many. I think you will like this one. It's the last one that was in the show, last poem in the show. It's a little bit longer. It talks about life experiences everywhere, and it ends up with stuff in Antarctica. And it is called Visiting Pristine Places on the Planet. When I was young, the world was the size of a thimble, and all I needed was my own backyard. But on my own, I was a dot in the universe. And that had to change. So, after trying to climb one of the Alps wearing socks and sandals, I went to a nearby mountain to spend 20 minutes in his rain-filled cave just to try to gain my strength again. After seeing Hitler's concentration camp gates in Dachau, Makfrei, I walked through those gates and thought, work will set you free. Yes, it's true. I know it, because your choice and your drive is freedom. After singing an entire acoustic set at a bar in Fairbanks, Alaska, we took off after midnight, added extra layers, and stood outside in the cold to bask in the geomagnetic dance of the Aurora Borealis. After being stared at by men in India because I was a tall Western woman not dressed like a Muslim, I had to go to their iron-filled, human feces-filled Bay of Bengal just to get my feet wet. After stepping over the gold-covered risers and palaces of China's Forbidden City, an older Chinese man asked me in halted English where I was from. When I said Chicago, he joyously said, "My kind of town." After I sang at the Great Wall of China, a group of Chinese people asked to take a picture with me. But I don't think it was my singing, but the fact that I was at least a foot taller than all of them.
Oh.
After buying a balalika in St. Petersburg, I saw the alarming number of well-dressed Russian guards at every street corner. And I thought, we may never be friends, but at times like these, we'll try to be friendly. After retracing Darwin's steps over the Galapagos Islands, I stopped next to a crisscross overlapping sea lions napping so I could contemplate natural selection. After seeing destroyed British ships from the early whaling in Antarctica, I photographed the first humpback whales of the season, then took a picture with a Gentoo penguin as I sat in the snow, and the penguin approached me. When a man in the third poorest country in the world was asked why the poor locals seemed so happy, he explained, "We may not have it all, but we can choose to be happy." And so we do. And with these words, I proudly choose life. I choose life for the orcas and the humpback whales and the chinstrap and gentoo penguins, cormorants, gulls, and terns. I choose life for the giant petrels, storm petrels, finches, Nazca birds, even sea lions and marine iguanas. I choose life for the Wyoming bison who passed me on the street. I choose life for the deer who approached us as we slept in the grass under stars. I choose life for all of the mass-farmed animals mankind slaughters because they choose to consume violence and not peace. I choose life because all around this world, peace is the one thing we could all always use.
Oh, so true. So true. Thank you. Thank
no.
you. That's beautiful. Wow. Like a trip around the world with Janet Kuypers.
I try to see how many things I could cover in
You're
there.
a vegetarian too.
Yes, I am.
I hear it in that poem. I really do. I hear it.
And when I perform things like that, I just wonder with all of the meat eaters that might be there. I'm like, are you just going to, which is what they'll do. They're just going to ignore that part of it and just try to listen to the rest of it and do their appropriate applause at the end and leave it at that. So
Sure.
I don't try to push my message. I've been a vegetarian for 20 some years, and I've never tried to push my thoughts on it so much. But at the same time, every once in a while, I've got to let it out in a poem. So that's what I do. And you were asking about all the book releases I've done. Recently, I went into, somebody had given me a book about a person that was comparing poems of theirs through life experiences over the years. And after doing that, I worked on coming up with this book of interviews, journals, and select poems. It is called In Depth. And at the same time, it was around the time when CC&D magazine was doing their 25-year anniversary issue, which is silver. I have silver all over my face for a photo for it, so I figured I might as well use that for a cover and be all covered in silver for my cover. So, and I believe there are interviews things from over the years for you. I have a question from Poetry Saloon at noon, when a Kathleen Shannemeyer Bartles asked me, "You were in a terrible accident many years ago. How has this impacted your writing?" And I have answers about that, which is probably too sad for me to say here.
Okay. All right.
You know, it's tough.
It's a powerful.
It's tough stuff.
It was a powerful life experience. I remember how hard we were praying for you at that time. That was,
I think,
so serious. I was so worried. And I feel so fortunate that I'm able to sit here at WZRD with you right now to have this interview.
Yay.
Yes. So let me know, what are you doing in Chicago? What's going on in your life? Are you doing any gigs while you're in town?
I am. Because I used to run a poetry open mic at the Gallery Cabaret. It's now taken over by Dave Getchik, and oftentimes Jerry Pendergast is running it. I said, I'm going to be in town. They said, all right, I'm going to be there. You're going to feature. Maybe you'll be hosting or co-hosting, and they think I am, which is so Tuesday night from 7 to 9 at the Gallery Cabaret.
And it's located at?
It's on Oakley, I believe. It is right around Armitage and Western.
Yes. It's
And
just
so
north.
I don't have the address. It's been years since I've said it.
2020 North Oakley.
You see, you're around here. I've been away for a couple of years. It's hard to remember these things. So I'll be doing that, and at the same time the next day I'll be having a feature at In One Ear at a Heartland Cafe, which is around 7,000 North something. I don't have the, I'm living on the other side of the country. I don't need to remember these addresses right
Yes,
now.
that's right.
I have them in my notebooks. I keep them up on my Facebook page. If you go to Janet Kuypers' Facebook page, you can find all this information there. Even when I'm away, I try to keep these things up to date. And in fact, if you go to Janet Kuypers' page at Facebook, you will see that the cover photo on my thing has a picture of me with the gang from the Gallery Cabaret from last year when I was here, and with details about the show listed on the cover photo page, actually. So
In One Ear is located at the Heartland Cafe, is
correct,
that right?
Correct.
And it's co-hosted by Billy Tuggle.
Billy Tuggle, yes.
Yeah. And
a couple guys there, and the open mic starts at 10:30, but the sign-up starts at
10:30 p.m.
Yes. No AM stuff, no. Everything's in the evening.
So it's late at night. And what day of the week is this?
It is on Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
26th,
So if you're up late on Wednesday, the 26th, then stop by and see Janet perform live.
Yes, I'll have poetry that is old and new, and it should be fascinating times for both shows, definitely.
Absolutely. So, okay, well, Janet, thank you so much for the interview. I've got a caller calling in. Let's see what they have to say. This is WZRD. All right, so we're going to listen to a little music, and here we go. Listening to a little Laurie Anderson. This is Strange Angels.
Strange Angels.
All right. Janet, I accidentally turned off your mic.
Well, just now.
Yeah, I did. I turned off everybody's mic. But yeah, I'd like to have you. Oh my God, I hope that was okay. My daughter's been driving me crazy. You hear her? She's such a control freak. Katie? I know you have class, babe. I know you have class. I'll be leaving here in 10 minutes. Let me do this interview. Let me do this interview. Please. Katie, give me 10 more minutes and I'll be out of here. No, don't take the train. I'll be home by 8 o'clock. And you'll be there in plenty of time, sweetheart.
So this is 2 hours.
Okay, I love you. Bye. I'm going to try this again. I'm not even sure that the record my. Do you have? Are you recording at all?
There's a camera right here. I'm pointing.
Yay! Yay! Awesome! Good! Yay! And I recorded you while you were talking, and because I'm not sure that I know we've been having trouble with this recording device over here, so we'll be fine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put in a new disc and.
But you're
Keep
leaving
on
in 10
trucking.
minutes, or
I have to. Yeah.
so
sadly.
it's not 2 hours, and it's not okay.
Right, yeah, we have like 10 minutes. So what would you like to focus on? You have 2 gigs coming up, right? So
I
let's
have
talk
2
about
gigs.
that again. We
2
want to
gigs
mention that
coming
again.
up.
And the addresses. So I was trying to
You
look
get
up
the
the
addresses
address
from
for In One Ear. I found their Facebook page that you had mentioned. I'm looking for their address. Okay. Performance venue In One Ear. It's located 7006 North Glenwood.
Glenwood, correct?
Yeah, so that's by the Heartland Cafe, though.
Yes.
It's like Lunt and Morris around there.
Yeah.
But 7006 North Glenwood. Okay. And then let me eject this one. I'm not sure they worked right. 7,000. It's all right. Damn it. It's such a beautiful poem. Oh, I love your work. So nice seeing you again. I've missed you so much. The world around here is not the same without you.
Aw.
I mean it with my heart. You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM, and I have here in the studio with me, Janet Kuypers, the one, the only, the amazing. So you can see Janet at it's not Billy Tuggle's event. It's called In One Ear. Billy Tuggle co-hosts it. And it's located at 7006 North Glenwood Avenue. That's in Chicago. So it's in the Heartland Cafe. And that's going to be after 10:30 at night on Wednesday. So if you're up late on a Wednesday looking for something awesome to do, come check out Janet Kuypers. And then again, Janet, you're also performing on Tuesday at the Gallery Cabaret, which is at 2020 North Oakley.
Yes.
And in Chicago again. And it's like Western and Armitage, just north of Armitage and 1 block east of Western. So you're going to be at those 2 events this coming week, and you've also been writing you're so prolific. It's so beautiful and such inspiring work. The penguins in Antarctica, amazing, gorgeous photography. If only you could see these books. And then she also just finished a book called In Depth, which is about her life, and she's putting
interviews and journals and poems that are collected together, and specific questions that lead to different aspects of my life. That I worked as an acquaintance rape workshop facilitator for years, so there are a lot of women's issues pieces in here, questions about a near-fatal car accident that I was in over 20 years ago, and even more. There's just a lot of stuff covering a lot of different topics. Very extensive interviews with questions answered that had poems that reflected them. I've also actually just released a couple of collection books. I run CCND magazine, Children's Churches and Daddies magazine. It's an unreligious, non-family oriented magazine, but it's called CCND. And I've got a collection of stuff that has appeared in it over the years called On the Edge. That's a volume 5, I think, of a large series of books like that. And there was a series of books that were done for performance art shows, because I seem to do a lot of performing. And in the chapter 18, 28, 38, 48, we've got 2 volumes of chapter 48 that are out right now. And because they're mostly Chicago shows, you have to have a Chicago skyline on them.
Of course, gorgeous. Wow. Your photography is just amazing. You should work for National Geographic, I swear.
You would think. And then I said, if I'm going to do the second one, it's going to have Chicago, but it's also going to have some shows from Austin, Texas, and I might as well have a shot from the sky of leaving Chicago with the skyline photo for volume 2.
Oh, is that what that is?
Well,
nice.
That's the loop in downtown from,
I love
from
it.
the air.
I love it.
So, there are a lot of poems in those collections, and there are a lot of Twitter-length poems. I think if people knew me from last year, I did a couple of books that were called Pharaoh Memes. Not pheromones, but Pharaoh memes. Because if you like my ideas, those are Pharaoh memes. The next one, because especially with our President Trump and his Twitterverse, I would have poems as well as Twitterverse poetry in a haiku book that is called Pharaoh Memes for the Twitterverse. I got my photo from like kindergarten
What? Oh, it's so cute.
And I put it in with the school photos and
I love
blocked out
it.
the other ones. And be like, there's your Pheromone
There you're really popping out.
series.
Look how cute you are. Just adorable.
So that's going to be the next book in the Pheromone series that's coming out. I think I'm going to be reading a number of short ones in between open mic people, as I am hosting the open mic at Gallery Cabaret on Tuesday night, the 25th of September from 7 to 9 p.m. So you can check those out. I'll probably be reading from this little Pheromone sample book as well as these other new books that are out, because I love sharing my poetry and my stories with people, and I love hearing people's stories as well. So I would love to see everybody at the Gallery Cabaret, and the more the merrier on a late night at In One Ear. That would be absolutely great. It means the world to me to be able to be here and share my work with you guys, as well as to hear what you guys say when you come to open mics. So I really hope to see everyone at both of those places. I want you to pack them. Pack the houses. Definitely.
Yes, pack the houses. Pack the house. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yes, absolutely. So it's been such a blessing to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing work. Can we squeeze one more poem out of you?
Okay. Does it need to be a long one or a short one?
I would say on the shorter side.
Oh, that one's a depressing one because those are accidents from that one. Let me see what's in these. You asked about vegetarian issues. And
yes.
Because these are things that have appeared in CC&D magazine. This is from On the Edge, although I believe it also exists in the Chapter 48 books as well, but I'm going to read it from On the Edge for you. This was the last show in the show at the cafe in Chicago, and it's called On a High Horse Like This. I listened to a hunter from Africa say, "All life is sacred." And he said this after separating a small, thin, non-venomous snake from around a large African hawk-like bird's neck. Because, you see, the bird attacks snakes, but that snake couldn't eat this large bird once it was dead, and that would have been a senseless death. All life is sacred, you say. So I couldn't help but think, as a hunter, do you pray for the sacred dead after you've killed it? I mean, I don't usually vocalize when I'm on a high horse like this. And I've had to explain myself to meat eaters. No, these aren't leather shoes I wear. I'm a vegetarian, though I still have to feign a smile to commiserate with men eating slaughtered animal. 'Cause, you see, it would look like a fool for having beliefs that people don't have. People don't want to hear about moral choices different from their own. I mean, we're Americans. If it's not human, or maybe a dog or a cat, then eat it. It's that simple. But I married a hunter, a Marine, who served our country, and he told me that every time he killed an animal, a part of him felt a regretful twinge of pain whenever he had killed his prey. The prey that he searched for with the weapon he could use before anything could get close enough to be an enemy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting on my high horse again. It's convenient that people can get their kill from the grocery store without getting any blood on their hands. Anything to stop anyone from thinking about what they're doing. Because I've heard that killing something makes you feel something. And I thought...
Nice! Yeah! You gotta think! You gotta think!
What
a critical thinker.
What about thinking? What is that all
Don't
about?
leave out your thinking. Thank you
Exactly.
so much for joining us here
you
at
for-
WZRD Chicago,
Thank you.
88.3 FM this morning. It's morning.
Thank
Gosh,
you for
I'm
inviting me here. Thank you.
so fortunate to be able to be in your presence and revel in your gorgeous poetry. So you can see Janet live at In One Ear on Wednesday night, 10:30, and then again at the Gallery Cabaret at
That's
from
the early
7
one.
till 9. So if you have an earlier evening that night, you'll be able to see her. But if you want to stay up late on Wednesday, then you can see her at the Heartland Cafe at 7006 North Glenwood.
I'd love to see you at both.
That'd be great.
I'm only
Yes,
in town for the week.
absolutely.
I'm only in town for 1
Yeah.
week. It's all I can pull off. I want to
come
see
get
as many
your
as
Janet
I can.
on.
Get your Janet fix. Get your Janet fix.
Yes, and just like vicariously travel the world. Absolutely, just amazing. I feel like I've been on a trip with you already. So I miss you so much, and I'm so grateful, my precious friend, that you are here right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I miss you too. Thank you so much. And
You're
I miss
welcome.
Chicago. I love you guys so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so you're listening to The Wizard, and I'll be handing you over to the next DJ momentarily. I wish you all the best out there in WZRD land.